I'm Billy Adams, welcome back and thanks for joining us, you are awesome! Don't forget to like, follow, share and subscribe and visit billyadams.com to support our work in promoting human connections. The nuclear arms race of the 1950s was a time of great fear, of danger, and of potential destruction. It was a time when two world powers were racing to create weapons of mass destruction that could obliterate entire cities. The atomic bomb was created in 1945, as part of the Manhattan Project in the United States. So, woohoo, thanks for that! Just 4 short years later, in 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested their own atomic weapon. This set off an arms race between the two superpowers that would last until 1991, with both sides stockpiling nuclear weapons in an effort to gain an advantage over one another. Instead of acting like world leaders and adults, these governments were acting like infants, unable to use their words. Unfortunately, this infantile, fear-driven race led to terrible consequences for citizens on both sides. Countries around the world had to live with a very real possibility that an atomic war could break out at any moment, and lead to global devastation. People were scared for their lives and uncertain about their future, as they never knew if, or when these weapons might be used against them. The legacy of this arms race is still felt today. Mistrust between countries remains high, some countries still stockpile nuclear weapons, despite our supposed advanced intelligence. Our governments continue to behave like uncivilized barbarians, fighting over imaginary lines, and behaving like momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Despite all this, however, we have been able to find hope, through human connection during times of difficulty, like those during the 1950s nuclear arms race. In spite of our differences, no matter where we come from, or what we believe in, we can still find understanding with one another, through our shared humanity, if we only take a chance, and reach out with open hearts instead of closed fists. We have seen it happen throughout history, and will continue to do so if we choose love over hate. Nuclear arms are weapons designed to release energy in the form of an explosive blast as a result of nuclear fission, fusion, or a combination of the two. Nuclear weapons were first developed during World War II, when scientists around the world began working on developing atomic bombs. The 1950s marked an era of extreme political tension, between the US and its allies, and the USSR, known as the Cold War. This period saw much development in terms of nuclear arms, as both nations worked feverishly to outdo each other in terms of nuclear capability. During this time, both nations continually increased their stockpiles of nuclear weapons, resulting in a massive buildup of global stockpiles. At its peak in the 1980s, it is estimated that there were over 70,000 nuclear weapons spread across the entire globe, enough to wipe out our tiny little planet many times over. The sheer volume of the stockpile of the arsenal speaks volumes about the insanity and delusional fear of the people governing these nations at the time. The fear created by these massive stockpiles was pervasive throughout society, and many people lived in constant fear that one day these weapons would be used for destruction. Despite this manufactured fear, however, tensions between East and West fortunately did not devolve into outright conflict during this period, as both sides recognized how catastrophic a nuclear war would be for humanity. As such, they instead used diplomacy to try and keep tensions from escalating further, while simultaneously continuing to build up their arsenals, which I do know, sounds kinda dumb. The threat of nuclear arms is still a very real presence in our world today. Global stockpiles have increased significantly since the 1950s, and there are an estimated 13,400 nuclear weapons still in existence today. This massive stockpile is divided among 9 nations: the United States, Russia, France, China, the United Kingdom, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. It is estimated that these 9 countries combined possess enough nuclear weapons to cause catastrophic destruction on a global scale. I don't know about you, but I think it would be nice if we had the right in making these decisions, right? I mean, who are these people, building weapons that could kill us all, for absolutely no reason, without our permission, when we just want to love each other? The consequences of such a massive stockpile of nuclear weapons has been numerous. The fear of mutual assured destruction has kept many tensions between nations from escalating into violence, as both sides understand the extreme danger posed by these weapons. On the other hand, this fear has also been used by so-called leaders in government, on all sides, as a form of political control when dealing with other nations. In addition to this direct danger posed by these weapons, there are also indirect consequences of this continued stockpiling of nuclear arms. Much of the money spent on developing and maintaining these arsenals could be used for socially beneficial endeavors, such as education and healthcare, yet instead it is being wasted on weaponry that only serves to increase global instability. It is clear that the threat imposed on us all by nuclear arms will remain with us until we can find a way to reduce or eliminate these stockpiles entirely. I dunno, maybe we need to get rid of all these crusty old nervous hate mongers in government and start a fresh approach where we are citizens of the globe first, where we forget about drawing imaginary lines across this little speck of dust, where we stop threatening each other, hating each other, killing each other. Until then, however, it will continue to haunt us all in one way or another, whether through direct conflict or through its indirect consequences, such as wasted resources and political unrest. But amidst all this fear and paranoia, we humans still find ways to connect with each other, to love one another despite our differences. We still find ways to come together, enjoy and share moments of peace despite all the danger lurking around us. Our capacity for love is powerful enough to overcome fear if we choose to. And in this moment of understanding, let us take time to reflect on how quickly human beings can be programmed by both love or hate. How we can be easily influenced by the powerful forces swirling around us. Only a few individuals get to make decisions that affect us all. The vast majority of citizens in the world just want to live in peace, love and harmony. The fear created by nuclear arms has been pervasive throughout society since their development in World War II. While many amazing and awesome people have come out against the continuing proliferation of nuclear weapons, ultimately, it falls on us all, as citizens of a shared world, to recognize our interconnectedness, and realize that our destinies are linked together, regardless of race or nationality, and imaginary lines drawn on a map cannot break our billions of years of atomic connection. Only then can we move forward from this era of nuclear arms proliferation, towards a world where our differences no longer leave room for war, but instead become bridges between us all towards understanding and cooperation. We must challenge our governments, and when they start acting like delusional, paranoid crazy people, we need to demand they act like human beings. I mean, it's really not hard. Instead of building missiles, I dunno, how about just sitting down and talking to each other, and sorting out your problems like adults? The forces that seek to drive us apart, whether through nationalistic pride or religious zealotry, have agendas and delusions that are not based in reality. We must recognize these forces for what they are, and understand that they threaten our collective well-being. It is easy for those in power to manipulate the masses into hatred, or violence, due to our capacity for emotion. So our strength, and capacity for emotion is also our biggest weakness, that can easily be used against us, through propaganda or misinformation, to demonize each other. History has shown us time and again, how powerful leaders can influence public opinion, in order to achieve their own ends. They use fear, and false promises of security, to rally people behind them, while their ultimate goal is often one of domination, rather than peace or love. At the same time, it is also important to remember that we as humans are hardwired for love, a trait we share with all living creatures on this planet. It is this aspect of our nature, that allows us to connect with each other emotionally, and form meaningful relationships despite our differences. For example, during the height of the Cold War, there were countless stories of ordinary citizens, from both sides, taking huge risks in order to help each other out, despite decades of animosity between their respective governments. By setting aside their differences, and focusing on humanity's commonalities, they were able to bring about moments of joy and friendship, when it seemed most impossible. Ultimately, it is up to us as individuals to recognize these connections within ourselves, and strive towards a world where we can put aside our differences, and embrace each other with love instead of fear or hatred. This requires more than just mere tolerance, but rather an understanding that our destinies are linked together regardless of race or nationality, a recognition of our collective humanity which will allow us all to move forward towards a more peaceful future. It's important for us to realize how small our place is in the universe and avoid creating needless conflicts. Our lifetimes are fleeting, so we should prioritize finding happiness, love, and peace instead of dwelling on negativity. This is Billy Adams saying farewell for now. Remember, you are part of everything and everyone. You are billions of atoms, each atom billions of years old. You are awesome and the universe loves you just the way you are. Please, like, subscribe, share and visit BillyAdams.com to help me continue to share our messages of love. Bye for now.